Hey, how's it going, guys? Jackson here with Toasted DIY, and today we're going to be taking a look at the GoPro Hero 8 Black Edition. Let's get right into it. So as I said, this is the newest GoPro Hero 8 Black Edition. This is basically one of the best ones that you can get right now. And as far as what a GoPro is, it's basically a action movie camera. So essentially with this camera, as it says down here, you get 33 feet of basically waterproofing. You can do 4K 60 FPS, and it's a 12 megapixel camera. So one thing that's really cool about these cameras is that they're basically practically the sponsor of like the Red Bull events, X Games, stuff like that, because these cameras are just known for being so good. They've been around for quite a long time now. I actually had the GoPro Silver 4, and that was one of the first ones that had a built-in screen like this one does, which I believe most of them actually come with built-in screens now. But this one isn't really much different from the GoPro Hero 7, aside from the fact that it does not actually need a housing. So this one has a basically, bulletproof housing in itself. So one scary part about that I've already had some concerns about is, if you're doing some really crazy stuff like, race car driving, your camera falls off, good chance that if you run this over, I wouldn't imagine it's going to survive it. And if it does, I would think it'd have a lot of scratches in the lens and whatnot. They do actually sell housings for these though, if you would like to get one. But it is really cool that these cameras have came such a long way that they can basically just be, bulletproof in themselves without needing a case. So as far as the screen goes, we have a really big screen. Power button's in the same spot as I think the last couple generations have been. But the screen's really cool. It is touchscreen, which is nice. So once we actually get into the camera, it's really cool because, like I said, it's touchscreen. So really small options, obviously, because it is a pretty small screen, but honestly, I haven't really had any issues with it. It does have built-in image stabilization, which is really cool. They call it, boost on and off, but it's basically just like a form of image stabilization, especially if you're doing a lot of really bumpy stuff, which is pretty cool. You can actually change the lens from widescreen to a few different options, such as like ultra wide, linear. You can go narrow even, which is nice. If you're doing just basic like webcam footage and stuff, they have super view, which is really cool. I can like see the whole entire room with that. And we'll get more into the settings once I get the camera adjusted so you guys can actually see it. But just as far as just the outside of the camera goes, I mean, it's just really nice looking. We have another little digital like OLED style display in the front showing the battery percentage. We have the SD card, which it says there's no SD card in it right now, and then we have what setting it's actually on. So let's go ahead and get it off of the mount. This is obviously the factory mount. It's the box that it came in, and it's pretty cool. This mount has this little safety built in so that the clip can't come undone, which is really nice. I remember buying these separate just to make sure that my camera didn't fly off. So once you lift that little rubber piece up, you can now put that back in, and basically just like any other GoPro, it uses the standard screw knob, but I'm going to show you guys what makes this pretty cool once we get this off. So what makes these cameras a lot different is because they don't have a housing, this right here is actually magnetically built in. So it has the little clips to actually be able to screw it onto a mount, are basically foldable, and they magnetically stick back to the base. So that's actually really cool in my opinion. They do feel like they're plastic, so obviously it can be a little bit scary, but I don't know. I think if you're not doing anything really insane with this specific camera, I think you're going to be just fine using it in the stock form it is in. Plus, if you can get the right deal on these, I actually paid $299 for mine from Target just by price matching, and for that price, I'm not super concerned if it gets a little bit scratched. I mean, obviously I don't want to break it or anything, but for my GoPro Hero Silver 4, I think I paid like $499 on release. I mean, it was a lot more expensive than $299. So that one I was always worried about. This one, I'm just excited to have it at this point. So 4K 60 FPS is capable on this camera. So we'll just go through some of the settings real quick. One thing that's pretty cool, like I said, is that it does have all these different views, especially on 1080p. So to start off from the top, we have super view, which, oh my gosh, we can see everything in the room. Next up, we have wide, which is basically just a step down from that. And it does show the actual lens millimeter off to the side. We have linear, and then we have narrow, which is, like I said, is pretty cool if you're doing like webcam recording and whatnot. So going back, one thing that's cool that they have built in is they do have slow motion built in. We can do 4x, and I think that's it for 1080. I want to say if you're doing higher FPS, you can actually do 8x. Let's see, if we go over here, we have basically the image stabilization over here, which apparently you can't turn off, I guess, once you're on narrow mode. So let's go back over to super view and let's see if we can actually, oh, now we can't even turn it on. So there you go. So certain modes you actually can't turn the image stabilization on and off. One thing that's pretty cool, well, when we're not on super view, is you actually do have a zoom feature. So we're just gonna go to linear, and I think that'll allow us to change all the settings. Okay, so boost on, boost off. So now we have image stabilization working, right? And then also we can actually zoom in, which is pretty cool. That's built in on the camera now. Another thing is if we go over to here, you can actually do preset video recording quality. So this is really cool because if I want to do like slow motion, for example, they already have it set up 1080 240 FPS. That would probably allow me to do like the 8x or 12x that they have. Then if we want to do, you know, really high quality, we have 4K 30. And like I said, this thing is supposed to be capable of up to 4K 60, although I probably personally wouldn't use that because it'll fill SD cards up so quick and it is super demanding. On our main channel, we actually really only record at 4K 30 ever. We don't ever mess with 60 just because it's so hard to edit. I really like this one too. We have like a 1440, basically 2.7K at 60 FPS as well, which is pretty nice. So, and you can actually add more of these presets, which if you go down here, yeah, see, you can actually go through and basically do all of these settings yourself, and then you can make some presets, and then you can name the actual setting. But it's pretty crazy, though, just how many settings this camera has directly on it. And let's not forget, if you download the actual Bluetooth app or the Wi-Fi app, you can basically go through and do a lot more stuff. So that's pretty awesome. So we're actually on 96%, and this is the original battery. I just charged it for the first time, and I got it fully charged. And I haven't recorded yet with it. I've played with it a little bit, and obviously I've had it on since the start of this video. So battery life doesn't seem, you know, too shabby so far, but I guess we'll know once we actually are recording. And now before I actually go and do some test recordings with it, I want to show you guys some of the accessories I got with this. If you do want to skip past it, feel free. I am going to be doing some recordings on the camera, probably some talking points, and maybe just running around with the image stabilization. So obviously, aside from what the camera actually came with, such as a basic GoPro clip, it does come with USB Type-C charging now, and this is USB-C to USB just 2.0, which is pretty awesome. I really love USB-C. That's what my Google Pixel uses, so I'm just really used to it at this point. And then this is basically the only other like accessory you get with the GoPro is you get a 3M curved adhesive mount, and this will work with the actual mount that they include. So it's pretty cool. You know, if you wanted to get started right away, you could probably attach this to a helmet. You could probably attach it somewhere on a car. I mean, you could attach this a lot of places. Like I said, it is a slight curve to it, so you do have to find some type of, you know, slightly curved surface to get it fully adhered. I'm also really excited about this. So this was about $35 on Amazon, and I do highly recommend getting something like this. Your camera only comes with one battery, okay? And to charge the battery, you basically do it directly to the camera. You actually plug in the USB-C with the battery in and charge it like that. This right here is a 3 battery bank, which is pretty awesome. You basically get to charge all 3 batteries at once, and on top of that, you have an actual basically carrying case for them. This USB-C, like I said, Type-C, which is awesome, detaches, and then boom, you just have your portable 3 batteries inside this tiny little cube. And it's honestly pretty well built. This is by Artman on Amazon. I will have links, by the way, in the description for any of these items, probably including the GoPro, in the description down below, and they will be affiliate links, so they do help us if you purchase any of this stuff. So pretty awesome for 35 bucks. I mean, obviously it's not GoPro brand batteries, but from what I read on the reviews, these are supposed to be really good. This right here, of course, is pretty essential if you plan on recording. This is a micro SD card. So this is a SanDisk Extreme micro SD, 128 gigs, and it does up to 90 megabytes per second write speed. We need good write speeds if we're going to be doing 4K. I wouldn't really recommend going much below this as far as read and write speeds, because eventually the camera's just not going to read and write well at all. You're going to get errors. The camera's going to randomly shut off. So from what I read online, the SanDisk Extreme should be enough. They do make higher end cards that do even more megabytes per second, but I think this should be plenty. So right now we are recording at narrow 1080 60 FPS. I'm standing behind the camera in case you couldn't tell by the shadow. And right now we got some pretty nice lighting. We're outside. Narrow's really not even that narrow. I mean, we're getting a pretty good view. Let's go ahead and try another one out. So now we're on 1080 60 FPS, and this is wide. So that's basically 2 steps above narrow. That's going above linear and everything. And yeah, pretty wide, pretty good looking. This is 1080-60 again, and now I'm trying with the built-in image stabilization. This is a pretty hilly yard. Let's actually try doing some running. See what that looks like. And I am just using the standard monopod mount right now. And it's pretty bouncy. It's not the sturdiest, but hey, seems like it's looking pretty good. All right, now we have 1080p 60 FPS super view, and we can see the world with this. This is actually pretty awesome, the view that you get with it.